their lives to predict the next eruption. You'll see how. When Allison Lawrence's heart stopped beating, doctors tried to save her life.
Routine CPR was not helping her. Something additional had to be done or we would have lost her.
For 41 minutes, she was clinically dead. Yet today, she's alive. How'd they do that? Bats, tens of thousands of bats. For years, they swarmed into Austin, Texas. Townspeople were scared.
Austin, in the early 1980s, was literally the center of bad bat publicity for America.
Now, those same people just love them, and Austin has become the bat capital of the world. When police can't solve a mystery, Frank Bender's brought in to put a face on unknown killers or victims.
Can't even begin to think about criminal investigation until we find out who died.
You won't believe how he does it. All this and more tonight.
Tonight on How They Do That, we begin in Hollywood, the city that creates dreams. We are high above Television City where the sun is setting as we get set for another hour together. My partner, Dorothy Lucy, is waiting in our studios way down there. Hi, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien, and welcome to our show. You know, when you think of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Wesley Snipes, Sly Stallone, Bruce Willis, you think of action adventure, $100 million box office, big, spectacular stunts. You know, these guys get shot at, they get thrown around, they leap, they fall, they crash. And here's how they do it. Hi, Dorothy.
Pat, how you doing?
Dorothy?
Pat,
How'd I do that?
let's go to the videotape.
The 12-second fall actually took 60 people, 5 stuntmen, 2 helicopters, 2 dummies, 2 shooting days, a dozen permits, and 1 network willing to let us use their roof.
Well, you'd love to see this on a call sheet. Harness.
The key to the stunt was having our home audience believe that Pat was actually falling and breaking through our stage. How'd we do it? We hired stunt coordinator Lane Levitt and his 4-man stunt team. They utilized many of the same techniques seen in Cliffhanger and Last Action Hero.
We just need to make you believe that there's someone falling through the air. If we can just capture that just for that split second that you believe that someone is falling for that one piece, it gets us down inside to the studio where there really is a human being falling.
Even though safety was foremost, in order for the stunt to work, Pat actually had to jump from the hovering helicopter.
Any questions? Okay.
Can I go home?
No way.
Aside from throwing one of the hosts of the show from a helicopter, this part of the stunt was dangerous because the chopper's low-level hovering had to be exact. The camera is framed to look as if Pat were in midair. As soon as he jumps into the pad, the chopper must then maneuver out of the way. The next step was to continue Pat's fall, but without Pat. How? With the help of a moving or articulated dummy.
It's got different springs and stuff inside of it that build up energy, and then when it comes out, that energy starts getting released, and there's a lot of ways I can introduce it into the scene that makes it do different things and stuff.
And are the springs in areas where humans have joints? Where
Yeah, it's
humans
all
have
done.
movement?
It's a copy of a human being, but he's been, like I said, he's been banged up so many times. He's like an old stunt man that needs a chiropractor.
Lane was fastened into the helicopter along with 2 dummies. Lane's goal? Simply to hit the roof while attempting to match Pat's mini fall done earlier. It's important not to catch the dummy on the helicopter skids. How does he do it? He tossed the dummy 4 different times. Each fall was shot with 5 different cameras. Now every angle was covered, except for the one of the dummy crashing through the roof. How did we do that? We built a fake air conditioning vent out of plywood, paper, and styrofoam. By combining an insert or close-up shot filmed earlier in the day and some split-second editing, we created the illusion of crashing through the roof without ever having to. 6 days later, we returned to Television City to tape tonight's program and the second half of our stunt.
You'll be preset, Pat, underneath the stage and in your suit with a couple of light smudges on you from your crash. Okay, Monty crashes down through, has to detach his back harness. It's a little clip deal. That gets flown out. He rolls out of the way, and then we'll climb up, and then I can cue you to pop up at the right time.
If you do this right, you want to host the Final Four, too?
Backstage, a machine called a descender was used to manipulate the fall. The descender is a low-tech device that controls a cable attached to our stuntman's harness via a series of pulleys, all connected to a motorcycle brake.
It's the same device we used on Cliffhanger for the big fall in the opening sequence. It's a big cable spool, has a couple of fans on it just to keep a little bit of tension on the cable, and it has a motorcycle brake on it. The man on the motorcycle brake was 500cc national motocross champion, so he's really good with the brake. He comes roaring down here to full free fall, comes through the hole, and Rick has to stop him within about 2 feet.
Rick Blackwell, who's back there on the brake, has probably got the trickiest job of all, because he is the guy that lets off and gathers me back in. He's got to be really on the money, or I'm going through the pad and getting to know the floor real well.
So it's a full reset.
With a false ceiling and a breakaway floor on stage, the rehearsal continues into the night. The timing was worked out perfectly. Now it was showtime. Full dress, including makeup, identical wardrobe, and the perfect hairpiece.
I'm Pat O'Brien.
All of the players quietly got into position without letting on to our studio audience, who knew nothing of the trick.
We're speeding, guys.
Everyone was told Pat was overhead in the helicopter, so with Pat under the stage, Monty above the stage, and myself on the stage, in a split second, it was over. Except for one major detail, the wire attached to Monty's back. After we shot the fall, the computer graphics wizards electronically erased the wire at over $500 an hour.
We bring it into a painting system, essentially it's a computer graphics machine. Then what I'll do is use the pen to eliminate the wire, and frame by frame I have to paint each individual frame. And then I also have a cloning brush that I can use to grab one piece of the frame and replace the other section of the picture with it. So there's the picture with and without. Then I put it all back together. There he is without the cable.
So with the wires removed, dust settled, our hero arrives just in time for the rest of tonight's show.
How'd I do that?
Now, I thought that looked like great fun, but I was, of course, standing right here on solid
Yeah, I
ground.
saw you down there. You know, I have a couple of fears. One is heights. Which I'm overcoming, but the other one, I have a deadly fear of helicopters. They had to drag out one of my old helicopter pilots to fly me there. And people don't realize that you have to have the door off the chopper when you do a stunt, so you're like lingering out there at 600 feet off the ground. So I don't know if you saw it, but I kissed the ground when I got back down.
Good job. Now, with the magic of Hollywood, it was easy to make it look like Pat and our stuntman, Monty Simmons, were in danger.
But try to imagine the skill, concentration, and nerve you have